Durham Regional Police have charged a 25-year-old woman following an attack at a public library in Ajax this weekend. The accused allegedly targeted another woman who was wearing a hijab. Now, Muslim community members are calling for the incident to be investigated as a hate crime. Tyler Cheese has the details.
I never imagined that a visit to my favorite quiet corner of the library would turn into one of the most terrifying moments of my life.
A representative from the National Council of Canadian Muslims reads a statement on behalf of a hijabi woman who was attacked at this public library branch in Ajax.
She violently grabbed my hijab, yanking it in an attempt to remove it. Then she poured a liquid all over it, so much that I could feel my scarf getting soaked. And then, to my absolute horror, she pulled out a lighter and tried to set me on fire. Thank God, security intervened just in time.
The alarming incident took place Saturday around noon. Police say the alleged attacker has been charged for assault with a weapon and for failing to comply with a probation order. It's left the Muslim community rattled.
No, I wasn't shocked. I was frustrated. I was angry. Angry that our community still has to deal with this type of behavior. Angry that we have been told by so many that Islamophobia doesn't exist.
For the community, it's a reminder of recent deaths tied to Islamophobia, like the 2021 van attack in London, Ontario that killed 4 members of a Muslim family.
What happened on Saturday could have easily increased that number. Canadians need to know this. They need to know this, especially right now as we're in an election cycle. And the issue of Islamophobia and hate must be top of mind.
Some of the federal party leaders have responded to the incident on social media, with Prime Minister Mark Carney and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh both condemning the attack, while Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre blamed the incident on the Liberals and ineffective bail laws. Locally, Ajax's deputy mayor also spoke on the incident.
This hate-fueled attack has shaken our community to its core. As we approach the end of Ramadan, a sacred month of peace, reflection, and spiritual renewal, this incident is a shocking reminder that our Ajax community is not immune to the intolerance and hatred that persists in our world.
Durham Police says officers are working with the Crown Attorney's Office to determine if hate can be considered a factor in the crime. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Ajax.
In Toronto, hundreds of protesters gathered outside of the U.S. consulate this afternoon. The demonstration was a rally showing solidarity against the states. And as JP Galliardo reports, similar rallies took place across the country.
Canadians are mobilizing across the country to put their support behind Canada amidst fractured relations with the U.S.
I'm here to stand with my fellow Canadians and let the United States, the American consulate, know that they cannot threaten our sovereignty. They cannot, and not even come into our country, into Quebec, and on our land, threaten our sovereignty and question our validity as a country. We take it very seriously, and we won't tolerate it.
We're the people of Canada. We stand on guard.
Rallies like this one have been taking place in recent weeks, including right here in Toronto. This group of protesters is focused on bringing more awareness to human rights violations taking place in the U.S., such as the withdrawal of support for Ukraine, as well as mass deportations in recent weeks following President Donald Trump's inauguration.
Obviously, that's very concerning for us, and those are the things that we want to focus on. Those are things that shouldn't be happening in anywhere in the world, but certainly not in North America.
Elbows up! Elbows up!
Longtime Northern Ontario MP Charlie Angus is the organizer of the Elbows Up protests. He spotted the True North Strong rally on Facebook and attended ahead of his own event.
It's really important for Canadians to come together to show that we're strong. The whole world is watching Canada right now. If Donald Trump can threaten us and take away our nation, he can do it to anybody. But what's really surprised Donald is that he thought that we were going to be pushovers. We're not leaving Canada. This is our country. We're not giving it up.
The rally had to be moved across the street after Toronto police had asked the crowd to leave the premises of the U.S. consulate. Organizers of this rally say they hope their message builds even more momentum.
We just want to continue to grow this community of people who care about what happens to other people in the world, to bring people together and to have our voices heard. You know, what if it starts on the streets, eventually it will hopefully make its way to other places in government, even the U.S. administration, and things can start to change.
Sparking change not just here in Canada, but in the States as well. JP Gallardo, CBC News, Toronto.
A 16-year-old boy is dead after being shot at the ICE condo building on Sunday. Police say the suspected killer was a friend of the teen.
Turned himself into 51 Division with Toronto Police Service. He was subsequently arrested for second-degree murder.
The incident happened on the 49th floor, and according to an email from building management to residents, it was an Airbnb unit. Police say they recovered a firearm from the lake today, which they believe was used in the shooting. 2 days prior, inside another short-term rental unit in the same building, York Regional Police executed a search warrant and apprehended an individual in an unrelated incident. In provincial politics, a drug consumption site in Toronto is taking the Ford government to court. The centre is challenging a provincial law that forces the closure of 10 supervised consumption sites across Ontario deemed too close to schools or daycares. Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Redekop has that story.
It's not your usual protest chant. They're yelling, "No more dead friends." Dozens of people gathered outside a Toronto courthouse over the noon hour, worried about the province's ban of supervised consumption sites deemed too close to schools or daycares.
As a minister, I'm terrified that our neighborhood is going to become a place that's going to end up being a graveyard.
A lot of more deaths on the street. Like I see sometimes people slumped over when I'm going for a walk, and I check on them just to make sure they're breathing. Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be dangerous now. People are just going to be using everywhere.
People are not going to die. They're going to get access to service.
The province is moving to an abstinence-based treatment model.
We will ban drug consumption sites within 200 meters of schools and child care centers.
And no new safe consumption sites can be opened. 9 of the locations, slated to close by April 1st, will be converted to homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hubs, known as HURT hubs. Plus, Ontario has also approved 18 new hubs. Bill Sinclair is following the proceedings in one of 2 packed overflow rooms. He leads the neighborhood group, which put forward this challenge and runs the Kensington Market overdose prevention site. Its lawyers argue removing safe consumption options is discriminatory, putting lives at risk. But the government argues its ban will help cut down on needles and drug use in streets and parks.
When people use in our sites, we dispose of needles properly. They do not end up on the streets, they do not end up in the parks, and they do not end up in the schoolyards.
The neighborhood group wants an injunction so that the sites don't have to close while the judge weighs the larger legal argument about whether the law is constitutional. It's hoping for a response on the injunction before the end of the week and before the sites are set to close. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Turning to business news now, and popular DNA testing firm 23andMe has filed for bankruptcy protection. Its CEO has also resigned effective immediately. The company was formed in 2006 and at one point was valued at $6 billion, but it struggled to generate recurring revenue and was dogged by privacy concerns related to its genetic database. Meantime, liquidation sales have begun at Canada's oldest company. Almost all Hudson Bay stores are now selling off their inventory after a court approved the company's plan to wind down operations. Ali Chiasson reports.
Everything in the store has already been torn apart, so today is the first official day of the liquidation, but half of the store is already gone.
The Bay's last days likely are here. The liquidation sale kicked off at most stores.
I bought a couple, like a blazer and some pants and a couple shirts.
Bargain hunters are hoping to get their hands on the coveted Bay branded gear while they still can.
A lot of the stuff that I was looking for isn't there anymore, so yeah, like the blankets, I was looking for a good deal on a bra, they're all gone.
They're good, it's 50%, 60%, so that's not bad.
And that's just the beginning. As the merchandise dwindles, they ratchet up the sales.
The liquidator will increase discounts as the sale goes on when sizing becomes an issue, when selection becomes an issue.
The Bay is set to close nearly all of its 80 stores as it tries to crawl out from a deep debt. For now, just 6 locations will remain. Most of the 9,300 employees face layoffs. Also caught up in the liquidation, brand owners. Some can't afford to let their products go at such deep discounts.
We just can't stomach it.
Olivia Globberzon pulled her merchandise from the Toronto area Oakville store slated to close.
A brand producing overseas, you know, they have a great margin. Maybe their cost of goods sold is 20% of their sales price. So they have a lot more wiggle room to discount, whereas we don't.
She had a feeling the end was near after the last couple of Black Fridays were dead.
When I went to the rest of the mall, it was like the mall was packed and the Bay was quiet. We were really happy to be in when there was people in there.
When there was people in there.
Key phrase there. Key phrase, yes.
Many Bay shelves will soon be empty and stores vacated June 30th. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
In sports, we are now just days away from the Blue Jays season opener. Today, they invited media to the Rogers Centre to get a sneak peek at what's new at the ballpark this season, and our Greg Ross was there.
The Blue Jays have created a number of unique places to watch the ball game from over the past couple of seasons, but none are quite like the newest club, which is right down beside the field.
So it's a club, a bar, right here on field level.
Right here on field level. So this is our new Club 328, which is a primarily members-only club, so season ticket memberships, quarter season memberships. But this club gets you access to right here, this incredible field-side view. Could you imagine just taking in the game right from down here? But also, when you walk around the corner, nestled into the right field corner is an incredible bar.
It's called Club 328 because it's right beside the right field home run fence, which is exactly 328 feet from home plate. It's not all that's new at the Rogers Centre. There's also a brand new menu at the concession stands. You can expect traditional ballpark food like hot dogs and popcorn, and quite a few new options.
Paninis are going to be big at the ballpark this year.
Yeah, I feel paninis are going to be the top seller, 100%.
Why do you say that?
I just think they're easy to eat, and the flavors that we're bringing to the ballpark are second to none.
Something else that stands out on the new menu, cotton candy French fries.
What are cotton candy French fries?
Sweet and savory. So we have some our special blue sauce on top with some white and blue cotton candy. A little fun for everybody.
What's in the blue sauce?
Special sauce.
Oh, you can't divulge that.
As always, the Blue Jays will have plenty of giveaway days on the schedule, where fans can get anything from bomber jackets to bobbleheads. They've also added a new Blue Jays City Connect basketball jersey, where Jays pitcher Chris Bassett's name and number is on the back.
Is this the first year you're doing a basketball jersey?
That is the first year we're doing a basketball jersey, and Chris Bassett actually played basketball growing up and into college.
So all we'll do is they'll drag.
No new changes on the field at the Rogers Centre, although it did need some TLC after a busy offseason that featured 6 Taylor Swift concerts and a WWE event. The grounds crew say that they have managed to restore the infield and the pitcher's mound back to tip-top shape.
We just have to make sure that we're consistent and provide a good playing surface for everybody that pitches on our mound. And as long as we do our job right, there shouldn't be any issues.
Blue Jays players arrived back in the city last night. They'll have a full workout at the Rogers Centre on Wednesday before hosting the Orioles in their home opener on Thursday. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
A new building set for construction in St. Jamestown has secured some artwork to give residents a nicer view. The wall installed around the site will be a mural created by over 100 local kids.
The vital service to the community, and it's nice to be able to have the kids see their artwork in the community and the empowerment that brings to them.
It feels great because I feel famous, I guess.
It feels wonderful, proud, like everyone's gonna see my handprints and stuff.
And the councillor was there alongside the famous artists now to unveil the artwork, along with the building developer and, of course, those artists themselves. The mural project was helmed by Art City, an organization that has been helping youth find their passion for art for the last 25 years. And this project is the first part of an initiative encouraging city builders to tap into children's art. The federal election campaign has now begun, and voters in Brampton will be getting an additional seat for this election. We went to see what issues are top of mind for voters there.
It's like really hard for people to buy homes, find homes, and I would hope that they're finding out ways to rectify these issues because it's extremely concerning for my future.
Well, just what they can do to better the living situation and everything. Just like say with rent. It is expensive. It's bad.
It should be a little bit easier because they're nice young boys and girls who would like a wonderful career, but it's too expensive for them to go to university.
Just some of the issues voters in Brampton have on the mind today as the campaign gets underway. With one additional seat in Brampton, politicians will now be vying for 6 seats in the city. It's part of an electoral boundary redistribution effort done every 10 years that saw changes right across the country. Here's a closer look at the changes impacting Ontario. Despite Toronto's size and importance, the city is getting one fewer federal riding in the upcoming election.
I think that's terrible. We need more representation, not less.
I think it's normal. I don't know, because I know in the provincial election it was still Don Valley, whatever it was, East or something.
This used to be the riding of Don Valley East, but it's been eliminated, mostly absorbed into what's now called Scarborough Centre Don Valley East. Every 10 years, electoral boundaries in Canada are redrawn. Even though Toronto lost a seat, overall, Ontario got one additional riding. Here's how. The first step was dividing Ontario's total population by the new number of ridings to establish a quota or goal size for each riding. Quebec and BC are close to Ontario's, but smaller provinces like PEI are down around 40,000 people per riding. For the redistribution, population growth is a big factor. Toronto's population did grow by 2.3% from 2016 to 2021, but it was far outpaced by Brampton and Milton. So Brampton and Milton both got new ridings, and another new one was added covering communities north of Toronto.
That seat that's being created in the north, very safe conservative territory, so that looks like it would be another conservative riding. But the fact that there is another one in Brampton and another one in the Milton area, those are areas that swing with each election. So whoever ends up winning the GTA will probably get an extra seat or two.
The commission's goal was to keep all the ridings around that 116,000 population number, but in the north, that just wasn't possible. In fact, Northern Ontario saw a reduction of one riding. The remaining ones still have small populations, like in Kenora's riding, with just over 60,000 people. The independent commission that determined the boundary changes in Ontario says population shifts are important, along with other considerations like linguistic and cultural minorities.
In Canada, elections are about geography. They really are. And so if we're going to have fair elections and a fair system of representation, it's all about looking every 10 years at how people have moved across that geography and trying to ensure that they're going to be fairly represented in the next election.
Still, with 60,000 people in Kenora, that means a voter there has 2 times the voting power of a voter here in Don Valley West with 120,000 people.
In a place like Kenora, it's very difficult to get around, very difficult to travel. So for an MP to represent the people in that area, they already have to travel great distances in order to get to people. And if we think of what the legal entitlement is not voter clout, but representation, effective representation, then there's a case to be made for having smaller populations in larger areas.
Political scientist Chris Cochran says technology's now coming online, algorithms that could help punch out configurations aimed at creating fair redistribution. But in the wrong hands, that tech could be used to create boundaries that advantage a political party at the expense of others.
We have to think about how it might be used nefariously, but also how AI might be able to be leveraged quite productively for this process.
She says Canada's system of redistribution is uniquely nonpartisan, and no matter how the system is modernized 10 years from now, Canada's principles for creating fair boundaries won't change. All right, let's get you over to Colette now. And Colette, the weather was really all over the map today.
That's right, Chris. So many different kind of conditions depending on, where you were today, but also the time of day. For example, Kingston, the high 8 degrees because that was with some afternoon sunshine. But this morning, a few centimeters of snow, waking up to that. Not only there, yes, we had a dusting to a few centimeters in many spots. St. Catharines also 8 degrees, but with winds gusting to 70 kilometers an hour. So perhaps not as pleasant as it might seem. And it was a struggle. We got to 6 degrees, not for long, and then the temperature kind of dipped and then came back up in Toronto. And of course, we had some wet flurries even coming back into those afternoon hours after what fell overnight last night and early this morning melted pretty quickly. So here's the trough in the jet stream. This is allowing the colder air to push in. We've got a couple of days here where our temperatures, our daytime highs are below seasonal, an upper level low that's just kind of parked. It's not really moving, and that's driving these winds. Plus, from time to time, we get not only the clouds, but some of this light precipitation. I will call it light with the scattered flurries that come into the GTA. However, where it becomes a little more significant is we do have some open waters with Georgian Bay and Lake Huron. And so into the snowbelt, some of those areas you may actually have some accumulation, not just 5 centimeters, but if you give it the couple of days here, 10 centimeters or so, but that's going to be closer to the shore and up the Bruce Peninsula. We'll deal with that cloud cover into Wednesday. From time to time, some sunny breaks. That's about the best we can get tomorrow. Into Wednesday, we have a better chance as the day wears on of breaking out into some sunshine, but we're still not out of the woods with some wet flurries in there too. Closer to the lakeshore, they do tend to kind of mix with some little bit of drizzle or light rain shower activity. In terms of those snowfall amounts, I kind of mentioned those areas where it becomes more of that 5 to 10 centimeters. Okay, in Collingwood, maybe a few highly localized areas there where it might be a little bit more than even that 10 centimeters over the next couple of days. Overnight readings tonight down to freezing in Toronto, Windsor as well, slipping just below for Barrie, but with those stronger winds, of course, it's going to have a much colder feel. Wednesday, we're lucky to get to 5 degrees, a few sunny breaks here and there, but otherwise those wet flurries not accumulating for the GTA. Wednesday, 3 degrees, and there it is, Thursday, perhaps the bright spot in the week with a high of 9.
Yeah, looking forward to that rebound. All right, thank you, Colette, and thank you for joining us. That's our show for you tonight. Have a great night.